Honda Cadet then on the grid and into position. As you can see on the front row, it's Max Housego and Cam Tipping. Row 2 will be Tom Drake and Sam Howell, with championship leader Harris Roberts there in the 45, going off P5 with James Fabricius alongside. The first race of the day then is about to be underway here at Lydd. Red lights on the overhead gantry. It's a good start from Fabricius in P6 and also from our championship leader Harris Roberts, but he's going to be on the outside for the chicane. He has managed to thread his way through though on that first chicane. Now it's a long run down to chicane 2 and everybody's going to try and make their way through here. This is your heavy braking zone as we see Amy Peacock trying to run around the outside, and then Thomas Potter there in the green helmet coming through from the tail end of the field. He started down in 18th place as they now make their way towards the hairpin right at the top of the track, and then it's a long run here at Lydd. It's basically a really long track in a really tight. Looks like we've got a slow starter in Alex Lynn there coming off the back. He was on the back row, but he's had a really slow getaway. So they make their way then down to the double apex right-hander to complete the first lap of racing here at Lydd in Kent. Over the line they come then for the first time. Cam Tipping leading the way as we've got Sam Lewis off into the Bart Chippings at the double apex right. Hopefully he'll be able to get back out on track, drag him out as well. Jensen White, another driver who hasn't appeared to come over the line at the start of this race. So Tipping leading the way from Roberts, Housego and Howell, with Drake in 5th, Charles Fabricius, Wheatley, Clark and Stansmore Wilson completing the top 10 at the end of the first lap in front of Williams, Peacock, Branscombe, Harry Samuel, Mason Webster and Rio Wardley. Joshua Owen running in 17th in front of Thomas Potter, Harris Alley and Lewis Hall then completing the top 20 as we're going to be 3 wide down the back straight into the double apex right. They're going to have to sort it out, and Housego's going to get hung out to dry there on the outside as Fabricius comes back down the inside and back up into 6th place. Harris Roberts now then leading the way from 5th place. Fabricius, who was alongside Roberts on the opening lap, is struggling to get through the traffic here. A driver that we would expect to be running right at the sharp end, and I'm sure we will see that at the end of the day as Ethan Charles gets down the inside into the hairpin, and Fabricius looks to take full advantage of that as well. And then when they come round this corner here, this one we'll catch it later on when they come round there, but there's a huge drop away down there into that right-hander, and it's a double apex right as well on the way in as Fabricius didn't manage to take advantage of Ethan Charles coming past Tom Drake. And now Stansmore Wilson's going to try and get alongside into that first chicane here at Lydd. It's a very fast but technical track here in Kent, and we were watching practice yesterday, and whilst there is a fair few overtaking spots into these chicanes and into the hairpin, you do have to line it up from a long way back to make it work. It really goes with the driver that races with their head. And this is what I was saying there, the track drops away. The camera really doesn't do it justice as to how much that track drops away down there. And then it's that double apex right. It wants you to turn in early, but then the better line is to stay on the outside. The problem with that is you're potentially then leaving the door open for other drivers to come down the inside. Roberts then and Tipping have managed to, Roberts certainly has moved away. Cameron Tipping in 2nd place. He comes into shot there now, coming under pressure from Howell, Charles Drake and Fabricius in 6th place, still unable to find a way through. Then there's a gap back of around about 1.5 seconds to Max Wheatley and Isabella Stansmore Wilson, who has Amy Peacock and Max Housego for company as well. There they are coming into shot. It looked like Peacock was trying to get down the inside of Stansmore Wilson. We'll keep an eye on that in the background as now Ethan Charles is right in the slipstream of Sam Howell for 3rd place, and Howell closing right up on Tipping, and in doing so he's going to end up running wide. Is Charles going to have the run down the inside? He isn't. He doesn't have enough. It's a very short start-finish straight here at Lydd, and now they're going to be 3 wide into the chicane, are they? No, thought we were going to have, and then there's contact there between Charles and Drake. Charles though is through this time, and now James Fabricius, oh, I thought he was going to take advantage and leave it down the inside there. Backs out of the corner there for Fabricius, probably understanding that it's all about getting the points. You don't win trophies in the heats. Try and take advantage and just get as many points as he can, although certainly sure he was hoping from his front 3rd qualifying here It's a random grids obviously here at CKC once again, as now Howell gets down the inside of Tipping, and Ethan Charles is going to be there as well. And Cam Tipping unfortunately loses 2 places over start finish, and now once again it's Fabricius alongside. Can he get through into the chicane? He can on Tom Drake. Through comes James Fabricius then up into 5th place behind Amy Peacock. Has managed to find a way past Isabella Stansmore-Wilson, as now Fabricius gets through at the hairpin as well, and Tom Drake comes back past Cameron Tipping. He's back up into the top 5. Tipping now will drop down into 6th place, but does have a fairly comfortable gap then between himself and Peacock in 7th place, as Harris Roberts now moving away 3 seconds the gap out at the front to the rest. There Fabricius gets a tighter line as Roberts sets the fastest lap of the race, the only driver thus far to dip into the 43s with a 43.7. Now Drake is back down the inside of Fabricius into the 2nd chicane. Will Fabricius get the cut back to the hairpin at the end? Doesn't, but closes right up on the back of Tom Drake, as they're now going to head out towards the back chicane here. That's the one, the right-hander. Then it's just a long looping left-hander. Really, there's no overtaking there, but you really need to line that one up if you're going to get down the inside, as we saw earlier on a few drivers do, into that double apex right-hander at the end of the track. And there now Fabricius, once again cutting it tight, gets alongside but scrubs off speed. And really there, the start-finish straight here at Lydd, as we mentioned earlier on, is so short that you really need to line it up to the 2nd chicane. This is the one we're going into now. And then once again, it's another short run into the hairpin at the end of the track, which is a long looping corner. Track kinks slightly left there. You see the drop down before that right-hander, and then the looping left as they head towards the back straight and then into the double right. Big lap, 1.5 minutes remaining then. Gap for the lead now, almost 4 seconds. Harris Roberts really pulling out a gap as those in 2nd place battle between each other, and Charles looks a little bit quicker than Howell, but Howell's backing him up and driving well enough to keep that car exactly where he needs to do in 2nd place at the moment, parking the number 8 machine where he needs to. What it has done though is back them into Drake and Fabricius behind. We've now got a 4-car battle for 2nd place as Ethan Charles gets a good run out of the chicane. Through he comes into 2nd place and then cuts it very tight on exit. The line there, you see Fabricius going much wider on entry. They're trying to line up a move for later on in the lap, trying to get the run down this back straight, but I think he carried so much speed that he had a little bit of run into the back of Drake. Drake gets the run though, gets a nose down the inside of Howell. And then now they're nose to tail. That's going to allow Ethan Charles to break away in 2nd place. If they keep battling behind them though, Amy Peacock puts in a personal best and has moved up into 6th place, with Tipping then down to 7th. And she's going to close right in on this, I think, for the final lap, if they keep battling and get backed up into Amy Peacock. Drake looks impatient in 4th place, trying to find a way through on Sam Howell in front, who I will say is managing to park that car exactly where he needed to do. Ethan Charles, though, did get a good run on the previous lap, so the top 3 as it stands, Roberts, Charles and Howell. Howell coming under continued pressure from Drake and Fabricius. And Drake there once again gets the nose down the inside, takes a huge chunk of curb. That could potentially bolt the exit, another fastest lap, and then a personal best as well for Ethan Charles. As Howell then takes a huge chunk of curb. Last lap, and Fabricius has got the nose down the inside of Drake into the chicane. Through he comes Amy Peacock then now in touching distance of this battle. May have needed another lap to really close right in on the back. There she is in the red and black cart, closing up under brakes, but still a few kart lengths back, and that may just be too far for her to make a move on into the final few corners. Down the back straight though for the final time, your race leader with a gap of almost 5 seconds from 5th place comes through to take the Heat 1 victory. Harris Roberts cements that championship lead with a Heat 1 victory. Ethan Charles should come through for 2nd place. There he does with Sam Howell. Fabricius gets past Drake on the final lap. Peacock, Stansmore-Wilson, Stanley Clark, Cameron Tipping and Max Williams complete your top 10. In front of Branscombe, Harry Samuel, Thomas Potter with the fastest lap of the race on the final lap. Mason Webster in 14th and Max Wheatley in 15th. In front of Harris Alley, George Ralston, Max Housigo, Lewis Hall and Alex Lynn, who had that really slow start, managing to catch up with the back of the pack and make his way up into 20th place. And down there at the bottom, we've got some runners that had difficult opening laps. We saw Max Lewis off in the bark at the end of the first lap. Don't know what happened with Jensen White, however, but he was classified as 1 lap down, and he came over the line at the start. He wasn't classified at the end of the first lap, so problems for Jensen White. Sure, hopefully later in the day he'll be open for a little bit of rain, because in the wet, as we saw at Fullbeck, he is a demon when the precipitation comes. First race of the day, though, of the 22 that we've got here for you at Lydd for the Junior and Cadet Kart Championship is in the bag. The next one up for you here at today will be Junior Pro Kart.